Alright, so the much anticipated, much beloved Bioshock Infinite is out. And I'm going to be doing a review of it shortly, but going to start things off by doing part 1 of a Let's Play for Bioshock Infinite. Now, I wanted to do this live, but microphone troubles and system issues prevent me from doing it, so I'm doing this as a commentary after I've already played it. And with a game like this, honestly, I think doing a live stream, I'd have just been too gobsmacked to talk like 9% of the time anyway. And most of the time when I would talk, I would have just said the exact same stuff over and over. So, I'm going to try and do this a little bit more interesting this time.
But I'm afraid of you.
Anyway, so time to get.
Going to just sit there?
As compared to what?
Time to get going here.
Not standing, rowing.
Rowing.
Now,
Land on it.
So you expect me to
I
shoulder
won't
the
spoil it, but let's just say that
But I do expect you
these
to
two are a little bit more involved in it than I
It was your
thought.
idea.
My idea.
I've made it very clear that I don't believe in the exercise.
The rowing.
No. Imagine that's wonderful exercise.
They are also one of the key sources of comedic relief in this game, and very entertaining when they show up.
One goes into an experiment knowing one could fail.
One does not undertake an experiment knowing one has failed.
Can we get back to the rowing?
I suggest you do, but we're never going to get there.
No, I mean I'd greatly appreciate it if you would assist.
Perhaps you should ask him. I imagine he has a greater interest in getting there than I do.
I suppose he does, but there's no point in asking.
Why not?
Because he doesn't row.
He doesn't row.
No, he doesn't row.
Ah,
Now,
I see what you mean.
to make a point about that, a lot of this game's concepts, and it deals with like 4 big different concepts, but a lot of the game's concepts are woven throughout the game in subtle ways, so, you know, I know some people will probably watch this just because they're curious as to the story, but play the game is the only real way to follow it and understand it. And I, for one, think that
That's something we can agree
people
on.
should really experience it for themselves.
Somebody meeting me here?
I'd certainly hope so.
It does seem like a dreadful place to be stranded.
Yeah, thanks. You're no help at all.
Someone inside.
Truth be told, I originally saw this game as a way of, you know, continuing the Bioshock franchise. But to be honest, I would actually have played it if it were not even labeled Bioshock.
Excuse me. It's Booker DeWitt. I guess you're expecting me?
Now, I should point out that anyone who played the original game is going to probably already notice this, but Bioshock Infinite is essentially doing Bioshock's entrance, its intro scene, backwards. And you'll see what I mean later on, but to remind people who may not have played Bioshock in a while, in the original Bioshock, you start the game in a plane, which then crashes, and you go to a lighthouse that takes you under the ocean to a city.
Is anyone here? Hello?
Now, this game's going to do it a little different. And just like the last 2 games, I'm stealing anything that isn't bolted to the ground. Yep, no phone. No good for you. Now, that being said, you'll notice here that we have Columbia's schedule, map, locations, all kinds of stuff going on here. Pardon me. And we also have Bioshock's traditional radio and flotsam and all this other stuff going on. There's lots of stuff that you'll see that gives hints of the story, like these right here, the religious iconography, the fact that somebody's tossed this guy's house, and now we find his corpse beaten and tortured.
Shit.
I'm guessing this didn't go over well. Don't disappoint us. You get the impression that someone went through a lot of trouble to set this up. And we're back out in the rain again. Now, to my knowledge, there might be a couple of others, but as far as I know, this is like the only true puzzle in the game that I can remember, other than some mild backtracking. Now check this out.
What in the world is...
Now, something I noticed, and other movie buffs probably will as well, this is probably going to seem very familiar to anyone who saw Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because in fact, it not only uses the same audio style, but even some of the note patterns are identical. Now, this does not sit well, but clearly, we have to get in the chair.
All right. Looks like they expect me to sit in their fancy chair.
Now let's get this over with, darn it.
What the hell? Go!
Make yourself ready, Pilgrim. The bindings are there as a safeguard.
Oh, I don't like where this is going.
No, God damn it!
Well, there goes my gun.
Ascension.
That's good.
Ascension in the count of 5. Count of 4.
No.
3, 2, 1.
No!
Ascension. Ascension.
Okay, so, yeah.
5,000.
We're going
10,000.
We're going north here.
15,000. Hallelujah.
Now, honestly, I adore the visual style of this game. It is beautiful. It's jarring in a way because Rapture was so dark and grimy and gloomy. And you see Columbia for the first time and it's such a bright and beautiful place. Now, admittedly, there are some sequences that harken back to Rapture early on, and there's some definite thematic harkening back to it at times as well. But whereas, you know, Bioshock 1 dealt with, you know, objectivism and, you know, capitalism and all that stuff, this game's theme is very much rooted in ideology, race politics, and relationships, class warfare, and how the pursuit of equality and freedom can become the pursuit of, you know, can become just as damaging, you know, if it's not conducted properly. And we'll get to that when we get later on in the game. You'll begin to see what I mean. But the game deals with both sides of it and deals with the ugly realities of both matters. And it does so in a very compelling way. Now, right now, we're in the chapel. And you see here, and you saw earlier, the iconography of this guy Comstock, de facto leader, the prophet, yada, yada, yada. Apparently, he's the big boss around here, in charge of everything. Don't quite know what to make of that, other than the fact that he seems like a right tosser, in my opinion. Now, for the record, you're playing not as just some voiceless drone, but you're actually playing as a character, Booker DeWitt.
Prophet.
And he actually has his own personality, his own voice, done by the amazing Troy Baker. And the game is just littered with character and personality. These are the audio logs.
Prophet because he loves the sinner. Love the sinner because he is you. Without the sinner, what need is there for a redeemer? Without sin, what grace has forgiveness?
Gotta find the exit out of this place.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, where am I?
Heaven, friend. Or as close as we'll see till Judgment Day.
Best keep such questions to myself, unless I want to get made.
See, Booker he's not some blank slate. He's a character with a history. And what I like about him is that his history is actually very interesting. From what you gather in the game, he worked for the Pinkertons, which, for those who aren't familiar, were essentially anti-union strikebreakers back in the day.
We recommit through sacrifice.
And he's like a disgraced agent of that company. And he's deep in debt because of gambling and booze. And he's now, pursuing this girl in Colombia as a way of squaring his debt.
If the prophet had just railed against the Sodom beneath us, but not accepted the 3 golden gifts of the founders, it would have been enough. If the prophet had just accepted the 3
These are
golden
all
gifts of the founders,
devotees
and
of
not prayed for
Comstock.
deliverance, it
They believe him
would
to
have
be
been
some sort
enough.
of
If the
incarnation of
prophet had
God
only
on earth
prayed
or
for
something.
deliverance and not led us to this
Now,
new
I got
Eden,
perplexed because it
would
was
have
like,
been enough.
I see all this
If the
going on,
prophet had just led us
and I'm like,
to
the
new
hell's
Eden
going on here?
and not purge the vipers of the Orient, it would have been enough.
guy's sermonizing
if
his
the
brains
prophet
out.
had just purged the vipers of the Orient, but not suffered
But
the
personally,
sacrifice of his beloved.
I'm just
it
figuring,
would have
like,
been
where do I
enough.
go now?
If the prophet had just suffered the sacrifice of his beloved, but not expelled the vox populi, it would have been enough.
And then everybody's quiet and I'm confused. It's like, okay, so what do I do now, you freaks?
Is
Out of
it
the
someone new? Someone from the Sodom below, newly come to Columbia to be washed clean before our prophet, our founders, and our Lord?
I just need passage into the city.
Passage to the city. Brother, the only way to Columbia is through rebirth in the sweet waters of
Now,
baptism. Will
this is
you
actually
be
kind of funny. If you pay
cleansed,
attention to the
brother?
design of this archway, it's actually designed the exact same way the entrance to Rapture was, which is another nod back to the original the game itself.
In the name of our prophet, in the name of our founders, and the
So to
name
get to
of
Columbia,
our
you must go
Lord.
through water again.
I don't know, brothers and sisters, but this one doesn't look clean to me.
Freaking crazy. Now here's a flashback, or a dream or something. We're not quite sure.
Who's there? Who's there?
But you can see here his gambling debts and his boozing and his
What do you
smoking
want?
and all his history.
I told you. Not gonna do it. Go away.
Mr. DeWitt! Mr. DeWitt!
And now, what the hell? That's one way of waking up, I suppose. And here's we begin to see like the alternate universe nature of this. Because there's Washington, Jefferson, and Franklin, but now they're lionized as like saviors and gods instead of men and politicians. Franklin giving technology, Washington giving power and military might, Jefferson giving wisdom and law.
To Father Jefferson, a scroll, so that Eden might have laws that set her above all other nations.
And so each year we recommit ourselves to our founders and our prophet, Father Comstock.
Alright, so let's get out of here.
So that we may follow in the prophet's path. Amen.
Our prophet fills our lungs with water, so they may better love the air.
Whatever you say, crazy. And again, this is one of those games where pretty much anything that's not nailed down might be useful.
Across the Delaware, with flaming sword and wings of angels, watch over me and lend me strength.
A rebel against shield.
By the sword
and the scroll
and the key.
There's no chance, no luck.
Just because the city flies
don't mean it ain't got its fair share of fools.
That's right, Booker. Right. Just because the city flies
Still got a girl to find.
Doesn't mean there aren't fools among it. And now we get to see Columbia itself. And I will be the first to admit, as much as I loved the original Bioshock, and admittedly I thought Bioshock was one of the best games of its era, Bioshock Infinite's world is just infinitely more compelling because it's alive. You know, Bioshock, you show up after everything's gone to hell. Here, their world is still intact. Ooh, hot dog, popcorn, plenty of food. There's Comstock's Mr. Hero. I wanted to get a paper, but the kid won't let you have one.
A full transcript of the Prophet's recent address to you, the Colombian people, on the holy forgiveness of our dear Lady Comstock, our beloved Mother of Forgiveness.
That statue. Life does not matter to a Liberty Scout. There's no room for preference.
Well, there's ego for you. Now, you'll notice that the city itself is scattered all over the place, floating on its own merit. And they explain later how that works, but I won't spoil it.
Never hire an artist, my dear fellow. They are a temperamental and unreliable lot to a man.
Uh-huh.
I told him that the park is exceedingly far behind schedule. The landscaping is half finished. The statuary hasn't arrived. The fountain is full of rainwater, for God's sake.
Now, you'll no doubt notice that the people here have their own lives, have their own discussions, have their own goings and all that stuff. Yeah, prophet.
Even the marigolds are still unplanted. All work which should have been done months ago. Do you know what he told me? He said that he was tired, that the work had taken much from him. I said, good God, man, don't tell me about details, just get it done. You almost finished down there?
Yes, sir.
Well, and this is one of the best things about the game, is you can go into all these little hidden nooks and crannies, and it reveals more of the world to you the more you're willing to investigate.
Vox Populi, that. Now, what does Vox Populi even mean, for heaven's sake?
It's Latin. It means...
Latin.
Fireworks sales, and apparently they're planning for some big event. There's the kids playing in the water. And now, Techno Horus. It turns out that the Techno Horse is named for a fan of the series who won a contest, and apparently his name is the guy who owns the company that makes it. Oh, we're having a parade. This sort of gives you a background of Comstock's legacy.
But it was the miracle child, the lamb, that is the future of our city. For the prophet had said that she in the tower will lead the son of below into righteousness.
Alright,
pal. You gotta wait like all the rest. All
Picking
clear.
the right event to attend on a
Good
day
luck
like
at the
today is
raffle,
serious
folks.
business, you know. Can't be everywhere.
and there's apparently a raffle going on.
Raffle and fair. Huh.
Cotton candy. lot of these shops are closed up for some reason.
Skies, warm temperatures,
Honor system,
and light variable winds throughout the afternoon. In short, a beautiful day for the festivities, Columbia. And now, back to the music.
Now, there's a lot of anachronism in this game, because you'll notice that there's a lot of music in this game from eras and time periods that it doesn't belong to. And they all talk about this false shepherd character, too. Apparently he's some sort of threat. Barbershop.
Would you care for a boutonniere? We're raising money for the girls' patriotic.
Now that song does not exist for another 40 years in reality, according to this game's timeline. No, 40 years? God, no, it would be what? Another 60 or more? Yeah, my sense of time is a little off. I forget this is 1912 according to the game. Oh, here's Comstock.
One man goes into the waters of baptism. A different man comes out, born again. But who is that man who lies submerged? Perhaps that swimmer is both sinner and saint, until he is revealed onto the eyes of man.
Yep. God only knows.
Above you, you never need to doubt it. I'll make you so sure about it.
But yeah, that's if I'm not mistaken, that's a Beach Boys song or something.
John, I do not want to be some character out of I Married a Vox Populi, now do I?
We'll meet the Vox Populi later. Ah, there's our objective.
That's where they said I'd find her.
Telegram, Mr. DeWitt.
Huh.
Telegram for you, sir.
Columbia Telegram.
DeWitt, stop. Do not alert Comstock to your presence. Stop. Whatever you do, do not pick number 77. Stop. Salute Tess.
The first time I played through it, that seemed just like very odd. But after you've played through it a couple of times, you begin to realize what all that represents. Man, that's awesome. That is a hell of a view, baby. Oh, getting his Mac on. But like I said, this world is alive.
Why, good day to you, sir.
Hello.
You know, there's stuff going on. There's people living lives. Now, that being said, we're getting close to the end of the first part here, but we'll go ahead and wrap up here momentarily. But now we're starting to get to what's known as the fair, where you get to see some interesting stuff. And this is demonstrating the vigors that you'll run into later in the game.
One swing, and feats of wonderment are at the tips of your fingers. You know
lightning,
our
fire.
Is fair. You know our prophet is kind, and he has asked, personally asked Mr. Jeremiah Fink to bring to you
And there's
these
possession
amazing
and a number of other
praise
abilities.
Praise be to our prophet, and praise be to our fair city.
There's Bucking Bronco.
If I told you
You'll get to see a lot of the stuff in the fair. They get to show.
Now, would you believe me?
Young sir, young miss, roll up and try the amazing power of Bucking Bronco. Whether you need it lifted, lofted, tossed, or tumbled, Bucking Bronco
Well, let's
is
give this a
just
try.
Young sir, young miss, roll up and try the amazing power of Bucking bucking bronco. Whether you need it lifted, lofted, tossed, or tumbled,
Let's
bucking
give this a
bronco
try.
is just the ticket. And there's devil number
Like I said, religious iconography plays a big part of this game.
devil number 2. Woo! He's on a roll. And that's great. We have a winner. Here you go, friend. And remember, if you need it lifted, lofted, tossed,
There we
or
go.
tumbled, bucking bronco is your answer.
And here's the shotgun game, which I think we're going to reach the end of it before I close out this one, maybe, but we'll continue from there next time. Oh, no, next time we'll pick up right here in the shotgun game, and you get to check out some of the weaponry. Either way, this is Mega Mac Cat, and we'll see you next time for the next part of the Bioshock play.